Hello there fellow NPCs, I'm Scythe, and today we're getting back into Seeds of Chaos. So, we are finally on some sort of good terms with Heartsong. I believe that's her name, the white fox that has been visiting us in our dreams. And we have some sort of rapport where she is supposed to help me out and I'm supposed to help her out and things like that. And on top of that, we are also having some issues with Alexia at the moment. She really wants children. I am not so keen on it. And I need to figure out if that can be avoided or if I have locked myself into that path completely now. It's gonna be interesting to see where that takes us. And also, because we were focusing on Alexia last time, we didn't really see all that much with Helena. So now that we're starting a new week, let's see if there's more Helena stuff, because I want to take care of her. And I wonder if I can do that with Alexia somehow, because I know there's our scenes with all three of us. Question is, how do I get it? Is it if she's a maid, or is it simply because I am interacting with Helena? We'll have to see. So yeah, those are the thoughts running through my mind. But for now, let's go. Week 27. Research report. Yeah, so for as long as I have Alexia working at the library, it's gonna be really easy to do research. That's awesome, I love it. Dark Dynasty. Grandeur was Ysera's aim from the start, and as her ever-faithful ally, I have done what I can to ensure her newest expansion projects actually fulfill their intended purpose. Roma will be seeing a lot more red and purple tapestries, I am afraid. Ooh. Level 3 Castle Hall unlocked, level 3 Dark Sanctum unlocked. Good. Wordlessly and expressionless, Cleona passes her update sheet to Rowan. See? We are running out of things to research. Hehehe. Grand projects. Library and forge. Good. Well, I do like that. Dryad training. I really don't care about that, because we are not fighting all that much. I guess we need it in order to take over a bunch of villages and stuff like that. But let's go with a grand project for now. And since that is all I have at the moment, I guess I don't really need Alexa over here, so I can relocate her. I understand. If there is nothing else, I will begin immediately. Please, fuck me. Yeah, nothing with Helena this time around. And nothing here. Anything here? Nah. Yeah, right. We are removing you. Should we take you as a maid? Help the other castle staff who directly ask to Ysera. I see. Not so much then. Barmaid. Works as a barmaid under Indara at the tavern in Rakshan Wastes. Caretaker. Right. Yeah, I don't care for that place. And forge hand. Help out with Greyhide. That could be fun. So let's do that. We are moving you to Greyhide. And can you build something? We only have 103. And that costs 400, so it's gonna take a couple of weeks. But yeah, the income is gonna increase quite a lot, so I like that. Library level 2. Oh. Haven't even upgraded it properly yet. I see. Oh shit! Oh shit, I love it! An unassuming clearing in the deepest part of the local forest, and yet the hairs on the back of your neck stands tall. The lair of the Fey Ambassador, Lady of the Midnight Court. The shadows cling close in these dark corridors. It would be best not to Tari. I don't know what that means. Clamin and Clamin's daughter. Yeah, nothing interesting. Anything new here? Show event dungeon delving. That could be fun. Oh, it actually disappeared. That event. Show your how good you are and shit. Oh, interesting. Nothing with you, and nothing here. Supplies for Grey, for battery. Nothing here. Nothing here. I mean, I guess we need... I'm so afraid of what this means. Delph dipping. Oh. Is Delph Dark Elf? Is that it? And what shall I put on a show? I kind of want to do that because I want to see what happens if we go backstage. But for now, let's talk with someone actually fun, like White Scar and Arcel. Oh yeah, there was also this one that was kind of fun. So we'll see about that. But what we gör visit White Scar and Heartsong. Ooh, fuck yeah, that's awesome. Visit White Scar. Why is it so ominous? A servant burst into Rowan's office a mere minutes ago, pale-faced and terrified. Through a shaking voice, she recounted what had happened. Passing by the room of one of the Fey ambassadors, she said she heard snarling and the sound of a loud crashing and thumping that they shook the walls themselves. The roaring had only grown louder as she ran from the site. She said the stone rattled with the sounds of its roars. The rest of the staff were terrified to go into that wing of the castle. Now, standing just outside White Scar's room, Rowan could hear that loud crashing, the heavy sound of growling drifting in from the other side of the door like a rumble in his chest. His hand hesitated on the doorknob. For a brief moment, Rowan was struck with a queasy, prey-like sensation. But he had a task to do, so he set aside his scruples and pushed open the door. Oh. The room had been torn to pieces. Barely anything was recognizable. Shattered bits of furniture coated in ripped sheeting had run through with claws. I have no idea what that word is. Armoire had been toppled over onto the bed as if thrown with great force. Shards of wood stuck up out of the cracked interior like stakes from the sheer force of its breaking. Rowan surveyed the damage. Nothing had been left untouched. The room was now a corrugated maze of dust and debris. And there, in the center of the destruction, loomed the great white beast who had so boldly walked through the portal to face down the twins alone. A Fey, a real Fey from the stories, prowling the narrow space with a look on his face that promised violence. The air stank of his scent, an earthly, masculine aura, predatory intent. Evidently, he had gotten tired of waiting. Oh, useless finery. Is the room not to your liking, Ambassador? The wolf paused in his hectic pacing, his head snapping over to look straight at Rowan. The two stared each other down. A cramped cave bloated with mortal luxuries. I struggle to imagine a less likable place. The idea was for you to be comfortable. Fey were not born to be comfortable. We were born to hunt, to sleep beneath the open sky. I prefer a grove of rotted elms to this confinement. You are, of course, free to leave the castle at any point if you prefer, Ambassador. White Scar let out a rumbling sound deep in his throat, which Rowan interpreted as a gruff chuckle. Ho, 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 ho. So, you have come. I have. On behalf of the twins, I welcome you to Casa Blood Me. Stop. Flattery tires me, human. Empty words are a waste of air, forced platitudes even more so. I only meant it as a sign of respect. Respect is earned through action, not seduced through frivolous bootlicking. To Rowan's surprise, the beast smiled, pulling back his lips to expose the long line of his fangs. I did not expect you to speak up in my defense in the throne room. I was only trying to defuse the situation. You did well. I was in the wrong. One does not enter another's den to make demands, no matter how foolish they may be. Well, don't get too comfortable with yourself. Ysera and Andras aren't likely to change their minds on the matter. Yes, that much is clear. Hence my abandonment in this room. If you know, then why stay? The Fey fell silent. He turned his back to Rowan, his long tail swirling pensively in slow circles. A good question. If we are doomed to fail, then why the prohibition on returning? Is this a test? Does she seek to teach us a lesson? No. The heathen witch would never agree to it. A punishment, then. Have I angered her? White Scar put a thoughtful claw to his chin, letting out a dissatisfied grunt. Angered who? Whitescar slitted his eye, refocused on Rowan again. A nervous thrill ran up his spine. Our queen is mercurial. She likes to speak in riddles. Often she has a hidden agenda, concealed in mundane matters. I have no purpose here. It is a waste of my time, and yet I must linger. Are you gonna tell me that somehow that Heartsong is Cassandra at some point? We're gonna find that out much later. We've actually been courting the Fae Queen. As if connecting two thoughts together, the wolf's gaze sharpened. He loomed over Roma with a sudden, terrifying presence. You are curious to me, human. Why is that? You seemed surprised when I arrived through the portal. Rowan affected a careless shrug. Of course I was. Most mortals were raised to think your people are merely fairy tales. To see you appear in the flesh, right in front of me, it was quite shocking. The Fae fixed him with a dark look. A low growl emitted from his throat. I was so surprised, not shocked. You were expecting me, not just at that moment. I don't follow your meaning. Yes, you do. You cloud your words, but I hear it. There is a waver in your tone. You don't speak with conviction. You knew I was coming, didn't you? No. Honesty is the root of respect. You expect me to treat you as an equal, then cease your deceit. Tell Whitescar you were warned beforehand. Deny his accusation and pretend you Sarah told about the Fae. Ooh. I don't remember what we told the Heartsong. But I don't think she's gonna be happy, or Whitescar is not gonna be happy, if we tell him that his niece has warned us beforehand. Mistress Sarah had dealings with your kind in the past. She told me there was a chance that you would contact us. At this, Whitescar let out a deeper growl. I do not like it. The witch has already sunk her talents into her. One reminds me too much of her the other. At least the red brute would have tried to slay me in honest combat. He may have mentioned something to that effect after your dust-up in the throne room. What is this soul you refer to? When did he ever say soul? Our seal eats souls? Tell me more about your queen. They obviously missed something here, so I want more answer about that. Our god, our savior, a dragon of incalculable age of wisdom. Of all the pantheons of Solans, I have never heard of that name used in reference to a god. Whitescar let out a dismissive growl. There is no pantheon, there is only soul. Your foreign gods do not interest us. They are callous, capricious, uncaring. It is a wonder that you follow them at all. And soul isn't any of those things. The fact that you must ask speaks to your ignorance. Would Solans intentionally intervene to save a species she had no hand in shaping? Would Karos willingly sacrifice himself to rescue a beleaguered people poised on the brink of annihilation? Order and chaos, a petty dichotomy, halves of a whole at a war with itself, solace beyond either of these things. Okay. Roman's eyebrow rose. A god who's wholly independent of both Solans and Karos. It was as if the Fae was telling him that he'd figured out how to turn the ocean upside down. Rowan made a mental note to look further into this fabled dragon. He had never heard the name before. Why are we asking that again? I have no further questions for you. Okay. Are still its souls? Yes, and her tittering minions in the Midnight Court. You think that warp form is the body of a natural-born Fae? She wears the skin of those whose souls she has devoured, pantomiming an immortal existence to delay her own life cycle indefinitely. It is disgusting, parasitic. A Fae should live and die like any other creature, to be reborn again by the caring touch of soul. Were it not for the Concordat, I would have already torn her throat out. The Concordat? Perhaps if I come to know you better, I will speak further of it. It is a shameful episode. It's just expanding here. Cassandra, you do not know of her? The more you tell me, the less I seem to really know about your kind. I have heard children's stories of a pharaoh queen, but she would scoff at the title, but it is an apt one. She is the Great Awakener, the first fae that Saul rescued. He was drawn to her spirit, and she became bound to him. If a fae's soul is a glimmering candle, then hers is a roaring bonfire. That's powerful. It was Cassandra who led our people in the aftermath of Saul's fall, guiding us through the winding ways of the netherworld, till we learned the proper paths of ourselves. Cassandra is our ruler, both queen and prophetess. She is Saul's voice until he can speak it to us once more, and as such is wise beyond judgment. The wolf seemed to hesitate, his ears flattening momentarily against the back of his head. Though I have, in my naive ignorance, begun to waver in hubris of late, I sometimes find myself worried. About what? That the Queen may have a blind spot. Our Syl still lives, in direct defiance of all virtue, but Cassandra has prevented me thus far from punishing her sacrilege. Even now the witch test might resolve. I am powerless to cleanse the midnight court of its corrupting influence until her majesty gives the command. Saul's divine will is enigmatic at times. So how much can we... I guess we can learn more about them. So I will just ask this one. Hopefully it doesn't expand any further. And then we're going to check more on these other ones. It is no secret. It is the same as yours. Mortality is a gift. Oh, mortality is a gift. It is our place as spirits of nature to share in that experience. We are born, we live, we die. The only difference for us is, Solans and Karos do not hold a chain to our souls. When we die, we are reborn, to continue the cycle. If that's the case, then why would our Syl bother to steal other people's bodies? Whitescar bared his teeth, exposing his long fangs. Because she is infested with ego. It is a long, painful process to reincarnate. Centuries can pass between our return, and during that time our souls suffer. She has no patience for such a struggle, better to steal the lives of others than to earn one of her own. Okay, so let's ask more about the Queen. You do not know of her? Okay, yeah, no, we saw this. Okay, that's stupid. That's unfortunate. It has been good to talk openly and directly with someone, after all this dithering. Look, I understand your frustration. My task is to mediate the issues between Bloodmean and your people. There is only one true solution to that problem. So I've gathered, but until such a time I can either find a compromise of your queen's or your queen recalls you. You're stuck here. I think it's pretty evident you don't much care for your room. The wolf bared its teeth and cast a dismissive paw in the direction of the wreckage. I have made my opinion clear. I'm certain the maids will thank you for your bluntness. Rowan nodded towards the window. The Rakshan ways are a bit sparse on habitable environments, but there is a small forest not far from the castle itself. I know of it. Sickly, rain, but clinging to life. I admire its tenacity to endure in such harshness. Would you prefer to lodge there until such time as I call upon you again? The wolf took cautious note to Rowan's stoic expression. The demons would be loath to let me out of their sight, so close to their lair of stacked stones. You're not dealing with them, you're dealing with me. And something tells me you are hardly needing my permission to go where you please. Whitescar let out another rumbling chuckle. Courtesy is fickle, but your honesty is appreciated. I do not know what to make of you, human. I guess that makes two of us, Faye. The beast very nearly smiled, his lips curling into a half snarl. You carry yourself with great dignity, yet you move like a shamed bear. I know the look. I once bore it myself. There is something about you. Something. He let out a contemplative growl, his eyes narrowing on Rowan as he leaned over him. If your masters will not heed my warning, then perhaps you can be convinced with raw proof. I like to think of myself as a credulous man. Meet me in the forest then. After I have had time to hunt, I will give you the proof of that which your masters meddle with. Why not just show me now? Isn't that why you're here? The Fae drew back, letting out a soft yip of displeasure. He almost looked apologetic. I am unbalanced, askew. My thoughts were scattered when we first met, my words poorly chosen. This room has only further agitated me. I need time to steady myself, to live true as a wild Fae. I must pray to Sol as well. Hear the wisdom it speaks to me in my dreams. And you will have that time, White Scar. But when we meet again, I expect answers. Something shifted in the wolf's posture. His shoulders seemed to relax, his stalking slowly to a more sedated prowl. I had all but given up on this reality and these short-sighted denizens. You are different. Then, without so much as a goodbye, the Fae flung himself from the window. It happened so fast Rowan didn't even have time to process it. One moment the hulking creature was there, the next he had somehow squeezed his large form through the window and disappeared into the night. Seeing that he was now alone in the thrashed room, Rowan turned on his heel and went to inform the soon-to-be aggravated cleaning staff. Okay. Interesting. So what... yeah, right, we can... why can we still visit White Scar? Ah, I see. Yeah, no, we're waiting with that. We're not doing a full-on White Scar. I want to talk with Arcil. Talk with all the ambassadors, so to speak. Visit Arcil. Rowan paused at the entrance to Arcil's chamber, an uneasy feeling creeping up his spine. Servants passing through this dark corner of the guest wing had been reporting strange occurrences for days now. Odd noises, sudden chills in the air, a shifting color of the light. It had gotten to the point that few were willing to venture there, even the orcish guards. Ooh, okay, that's bad. The sound of a low chanting drifted through the doorway. It was a lyrical tune that carried with us its strange resonance, seeming to lack an echo. His head buzzed as he passed onwards through the entryway. A pale, vaguely elven being sat cross-legged in the center of the room, her blank eyes glowing as her full lips mumbled a haunting chorus low under her breath. She was almost in a trance, her head bowing low as she huddled forward, clutching the glowing skull that seemed to be her totem in her hands. At the sound of the door opening, her head snapped up, her lidless gaze swiveling to focus upon the intruder who stood with his back to the door. Far from seeming perturbed at the interruption, a wide smile spread across her face. Ah, Rowan. What a pleasant surprise. The Fae took her time getting up off her knees, briefly kneeling at waist level before rising slowly on her heels. Rowan could have sworn she leaned forward intentionally as she did so, enticing him with her hanging milky cleavage. So much time has passed since our arrival. I was beginning to wonder if I'd been merely cast aside. I am honored that the fabled hero Rosario himself would come to greet this humble ambassador. Rowan's eyebrow rose. He schooled his expression. You've heard of me, Faye? Arcil chuckled, a low coo that insinuated more than mere amusement. She strutted over to her nightstand, snuffing out the blazing blue balefire candle that had lit the room with a dull sapphire glow. Dear me, but everyone here has heard of you. From the grandest spires of Prothia to the deepest slums of Rastadel, you are known. Your name is even whispered on occasion in the hidden halls of the Midnight Court. Let me tell you, such a feat of gossip is almost unheard of when it regards a mere mortal. Her hands went to her mouth, fingers trailing gently across her full lips as she smirked at him. Truly, I'm flattered. As you ought to be. That I deign to flatter you at all speaks to your value. Were it anyone else but my dear Ysera and her handsome brother coming to greet me, well, unless a woman might take offense. So, to what do I owe this profound pleasure? Well, officially I've come to welcome you to Castle Bloodmead. And unofficially? To take the measure of you. How droll. Arcille put her palm upon her chin, drumming her fingers across her cheek as she stared at Rowan. Her voice was a sensual purr. I must say, the stories paint you in a far grander position than acting as inquisitor for mere provincials like myself. Perhaps there's more to both of us than either lets on. Arcille's smile widened into a genuine grin. Oh, I can tell a verbal spar with you would be a delight. Isn't that what we're doing? Poking and prodding, for the moment. Arcille turned to a small ornate metal pot sitting daintily on the end table near her bed. Next to it sat 2 small teacups. Bands of vines and golden thorns ensorcelled the dark porcelain cups in a dizzying pattern. They did not come from Bloodmead's stock. Arcille bent over and lifted the top of the pot, wafting in the steam that emitted from its interior. Would you like some tea? I had especially brewed it and delivered it to my chambers not 10 minutes ago. It's still hot. When it comes to these powerful magical beings and tea, like this era, you really should stay away. But you can't also insult Ambassador, now can we? I'll pass, thank you. Okay, we can insult her, apparently. Arcille let out a soft chuckle, pouring a healthy cup and then lifting it slowly to her lips. The tea was black as night, seeming to almost disappear into the dark porcelain. Her eyes held fast to Rowan's as she took a long, heady sip. Come now, Rowan. You don't think I'd come all this way myself just to poison you? I have no idea where you came all this way, nor where you really came from. You'll forgive my caution till I can suss out the whys and wheres of you. A cynic, I like that. But you have nothing to fear from me, my lovely. It's the who that I'm concerned with. Rowan ignored the fluttering of her eyelashes and nodded towards the tea set. I did not think your kind would enjoy such creature comfort. Arcille set the cups down with a cautious, quiet clink upon the platter. You speak as if those who can walk and talk are any different in nature to those that growl and bite. Everything that lives is natural. The only difference is a level of sophistication. She smiled sweetly at him. Speaking of which, my eternal gratitude for your forbearance in the throne room. You handled your master's erratic temperaments quite expertly. A pretty good Queen Cassandra dispatched 2 ambassadors. One more word out of that old fool's mouth, and our mission may well have been cut short. You did not seem overly concerned at the time about being exiled from the castle. Arcille winked at him. A clever diplomat always keeps a few back channels on hand. Never interrupt a foe when he's making a mistake. Which foe are you referring to? The only one stupid enough to break the illusion of fey solidarity in front of outsiders. I don't doubt that sweet Ysera has cottoned on to the fact that we are not a united body, hence your dispatching here. And yet you seem untroubled. Negotiating from a position of strength is always preferable, but hardly essential. One can attain much by being sorely underestimated. Such as? A cold smile spread across her perpetually amused expression. How does the prospect of eternal life sound to you? Rowan folded his arms together. Exhausting. Arcille made a great show of letting out a tired sigh. The mental chicanery of mortals, pretending as if an unending existence were a curse, to assuage their own fatality. What are we even discussing at this point, Ambassador? Everything and nothing. You wanted to take a measure of me, I am providing you the stick. You will, of course, do the same for dearest Whitescar at some point, if you haven't already, and I'd prefer it if he came up short in comparison. His fool's errand Queen Cassandra has dispatched us on is irrelevant. The true contest lies in Bloodmean itself. She took a step towards him, her pale eyes holding sharp to his. With you. I am just a humble servant of the twins. Arcille deftly put a hand on her mouth to cover her soft laughter. As I am but a humble courier in the service to Queen Cassandra, and yet, here we stand, the two voices speaking for respective factions. Figureheads are a remarkably useful tool for clever seneschals, are they not, Rowan? When they listen to reason. Ah, that's the trick, isn't it? Turning one's disagreeable nature to our advantage. An imprecise science, but so fulfilling when you hit the mark. Quite a lot to go through here. Oh, how much there is to tell. The tales of good Queen Cassandra could fill a storybook. I'm less interested in tall tales than the truth. Fabrications and fables are often as important as the truth. Rumor can tell you more about the subject and their disposition than reality ever could. You're more evasive about this than I expected, given everything you've told me thus far. Arcelle's eyes narrowed. She cast a pale hand blithely to the side, as if tossing aside an unwanted trinket. And take that as your answer. My beloved queen is an enigma, innocent as a dove, yet treacherous as a sea, wise yet foolish, warm yet pitiless. She is the Fae personified, and yet is something else entirely. What is that supposed to mean? Allow me to use a simpler analogy. She pointed at him. She is you, Rowan, an endless contradiction, a beautiful hypocrisy whose every action breeds an unforeseen consequences. The fact that both myself and that giant furry white rug do her bidding should be more than enough explanation for you. I adore her, and yet here I am, undermining her carefully crafted peace treaty. Is there anything more painfully ironic than an immortal who is fickle? Okay. What peace treaty are you referring to? Arcille rolled her eyes, twirling her forefinger in a lazy circle. Please, as if the nature of the treaty were a mystery. Does Chieftain Whitescar strike you as the kind of zealot willing to suffer the continued existence of those he deems unworthy? I have yet to decide on that matter. A shame, and here I thought we were speaking as equals. I respect your intelligence far too much to believe that pretty little lie, my lovely. In short, nothing short of direct, divine intervention would prevent Whitescar from attempting to exterminate me and my coven. And short of his god himself descending from on high to fill his brain with still more nonsense, good Queen Cassandra is the closest equivalent. We struck a deal, but now I grow tired of the bargain. The time will soon come for us to redraw lines. Okay. So there's gonna be a war between them at some point. Ooh, you don't think very highly of Whitescar. Arcille's upper lip curled into a contemptuous sneer. Why would I? No one of consequence does. He is a fanatic clinging to his tired, toothless belief like a rat in a rainstorm. You're speaking quite candidly given your prior comments about Fae's solidarity. It is pointless to pretend that a bubble still exists after everyone's witnessed its burst. Whitescar is quite adept at limiting others' options. He is an irrelevant brute. Worst of all, he's boring. Have you ever heard the man talk? Oh, my apologies. Preach. The only solace that I take in his lingering presence here is the knowledge that my presence is 1,000 times more odious to him. So Whitescar is your enemy? By dint of his own inbred hostility, yes. I have no interest in the man. He can squat in the netherworld and die 1,000 times in the name of his god's soul, for all I care. Yet I'd be a fool to ignore his less than friendly overtures toward me and mine. After all, a thorn in one's side can easily become infected if precautions aren't taken. Okay. So they do hate each other, it's not one-sided. And she doesn't care for the god, but something tells me that just like Solange and Karos, there is evidence that Sol exists. Also, Sol is the name of the sun. In Swedish, the sun is Sol, Solen, which essentially is a sun god in of itself, you know. So that is always something that's interested me, that the Swedish name for the sun is the more or less the universal name for a divine being called Sol. No nonsense. Oh, what was the question? What's all this nonsense about eternal life? No nonsense. Unlike my grumpy white counterpart, I only deal in reality. You want eternal life? It can be yours. It wouldn't even require very much effort from a man of your resources and talent. There is always a catch to such offers. Arcille laughed, smirking at Rowan from behind her pale hand. Of course there is, but unlike those Karos and Solange and charlatans, I can give it to you. At the cost of what? My soul? I suppose it depends on the definition. Regardless, that is not why I am here. If you wish to make such a deal, it will have to come after our business is concluded. Okay, good to know. We can have an eternal life, in which case we would align ourselves with Arcille and make White Scar an enemy of ours. I'm glad I could assuage your curiosity. But let us segue from such mundane matters for a moment and speak of other things. Arcille drew in just a little too close, her fingers trailing down Rowan's arm. Rowan took a conscious step out of her orbit. Such as? Oh, many used details. Little morsels of gossips. One in particular I've been suckling on recently involves you in particular. Oh? She made an altogether inadequate attempt to cover her budding smirk with her hand. How have you been sleeping recently, Rowan? Had any good dreams? None in particular. The usual lot, I suppose. Does she know about Heartsong? That's the question. Arcille's smile only grew. Quite a lot you have. I did not take you for a man who dwelt over long in the past. If I did, I would no doubt be able to recall whatever it is you're insinuating. Lucid dreams are said to be a rarity amongst mortals. Typically such events are more of a directed variety. Marvelous, really, the ability to look at one's past as one would gaze into a mirror. Are you certain no one has visited you of late, Rowan?
She does know.
Tell her the truth. Deny the implication outright. Come up with I'll deny. I'm fine with her thinking I'm lying to her. I'm fine with that. She's hot, but she's scary. I have no idea what you're talking about. Indeed. One wonders if it's my knowledge of your memory that is lacking. In absence of a more concrete accusation than visitors and dreams, assume the former. Arcille licked her lips, a slow, sensual movement. Touché. Though I would argue that I've laid more than enough breadcrumbs for you to know I am not idly blowing smoke. If you know so much, then why don't you tell me what's really going on? Hypothetically. Very well. Then let me ask you. Hypothetically. If a being were to have the means to enter one's mind, one's dreams, one's memories, that would be a powerful tool, would it not? Obviously. And hypothetically, if one were to enter one's dreams, witness some of their most important past events, of what use would that be to them? Depends on whose memories they're witnessing. Someone important. To them or at large? Both. It would give them immense edge. They would know the person's inner workings, their weaknesses, what makes them tick. Their hearts and soul, as it were, like listening to a song. Hypothetically. So you send someone to spy on my dreams? Oh, no. She's not one of mine. Too many complications. Though she would make a delightful little plaything. Honestly, I wish I'd thought of such a move before she began her little adventure. Sometimes blank naivete is more insightful than calculated intrigue. If she is not one of yours, then how do you know we interacted at all? Arcille drew closer to him, her eyes alight with an unearthly glow. She ran her fingers down his arm again, smiling at his flat expression. Oh, my lovely, have you not yet taken the measure of me? If there is one thing I do not dabble in, it is hypotheticals. You're giving me a lot to think about, Ambassador. Please, call me Arcille. And I would be honored if we had a chance to speak again in such a candid manner. Of that, I don't doubt. What if we put a name to that meeting? Would you be averse to be my +1 for a banquet? What's the occasion? Arcille stepped away from him, moving smoothly across the room to her nightstand to once more lift the teacup to her lips. She took a long drink, then smiled. Sweet Gisera was kind enough to allow me to bring some members of the Midnight Court through the portal and host a banquet in her honor. How generous of you. After the debacle in the throne room, I figured a little soiree thrown at our expense was just the thing to smooth over any lingering tensions between our peoples. A sign of goodwill and kind intentions towards our benevolent masters. And yet I'm the guest of honor? Arcille laughed at that, flashing a brief glimpse of her prefect white teeth. Should it be perfect? Who knows? The honor is all mine, Rowan, but think logically as well. I can't very well compromise my status as a foreign ambassador by inviting the leaders of the faction I'm wooing. What's more, if anyone were to invite the twins as their partner, it would be Queen Cassandra, not I. My place, it is her side. Arcille's eyes lidded, and she stared at Rowan for a long, meaningful moment. As yours is the twins. You play a dangerous game, Arcille. The only one worth winning, though you would make a remarkable dance partner. Very well. I will come see you again when I am able, and we can make the proper arrangements for the banquet. Arcille settled down back into her original meditative position, cradling the glowing skull in her lap with a protective caress. Then I shall await your return with a bated breath, Rowan. As Rowan closed the door behind him, he heard the eerie sound of echoless chanting rise up to fill his ears once more. Oh, that's interesting. So we can go into the forest with Whitescar, and we can go to a banquet with Arcille. That's interesting. I really like that. And then I also want to watch the dungeon delving, whatever that is. But that is something we're going to do in the next episode. Well, hopefully, because there's a lot of stuff to do before we start do more exploring. Goddamn, there's so much to do right now. And I am really enjoying to see what's going to happen. But yeah, as I said, that's it for today's episode. So, thank you guys for watching. And I will see you guys in the next one. Goodbye, everyone.